Gentlemen, what is going on today? Hold on before I lose my earpiece here. Sorry, interrupted my flow there. Guys, what's going on today? Glad you're here. This is Ryan Mickler. I am the host and the founder of the Order of Man podcast and movement, and I want to welcome you here and I want to welcome you back if you've been with us for any amount of time. I've got a conversation. It's not going to be long, but a conversation that I want to share with you today on finding an outlet and why that's so important. And I'm also going to break down some key components of an outlet that you should have available to you for venting, for frustration, for the number of things that we experience on a daily basis that a lot of us just hold inside and don't allow to get out and into a productive outlet. We're going to talk about that in a second. Before we do, want to let you know two things, two very important things. Number one, my book, The Masculinity Manifesto, is out and available. So if you could and you're interested, please go to Amazon. That's the best place right now, Amazon, and pick up a copy of The Masculinity Manifesto. You can pick it up as an ebook. You can pick up the hardcover. I don't know if the paperback is there, but you can get the hardcover, the ebook, or the audio version, which I read and narrate myself. So, Masculinity Manifesto. And then once you do, and you've read or listened to it, at least to the point where you can leave an honest review, go in back to Amazon, leave a rating and review. That goes a very long way in bumping up the performance of the book. And we want that to get into as many hands as we possibly can. As of yesterday, it was number one in, I don't know, 5 or 6 categories on Amazon. And I think it was as high as number 795 in all of Amazon books, which maybe doesn't sound like a lot, but when you consider that there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of books available, and we're number 795, that's pretty impressive. And that's because of you. So that's number one, the Masculinity Manifesto. Number two is we've got our exclusive brotherhood, the Iron Council. This is where you can band with other men. You're going to have accountability. You're going to have camaraderie. You're going to stand shoulder to shoulder, literally and figuratively, with these guys. And you're going to march through life, and you're going to have access to the tools and resources that are going to help you take charge of your life once and for all, that are going to help you take it to the next level, maybe even help dig you out of the pit that you have found yourself in. And it's all done in our exclusive brotherhood, the Iron Council, which you can find more about at orderman.com/Iron Council, orderman.com/Iron Council. It's only open for another couple of days, so do that one quick. All right, guys, let's talk about finding a proper outlet. Again, this is for your stress. This is for your anger and your emotions and the things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. If you don't have an outlet for these things, it's not going to go well. You're going to explode. You're going to stress yourself out. Your cortisol levels are going to go through the roof. You're going to have health issues. You're going to have relational issues. You're going to have addiction issues. You're going to find an outlet. And unless you're deliberate and intentional about letting these feelings out, about letting just life go, then it's going to find an outlet. And usually it's not going to be a very productive one unless you're deliberate and intentional about it. So what I want to do with you today is just break down 4 key components of finding a healthy outlet and what you can do to make sure that you keep your stress levels low and not unnecessarily high. And then also build camaraderie with other guys, have fulfillment, have something that you're enjoying, and then also just living a good life. So number one, and these aren't in any particular order, but your outlet, your activity, it has to be something that's actually stimulating to you. I don't think I should have to say this, but I do have to say it because a lot of the times what I've seen is so many men look on Facebook, look on Instagram or Twitter or YouTube or podcasts, and they see what everybody else is doing. And they think because that guy who they admire or respect is doing it, then they have to do it too. Maybe that's shooting, maybe that's hunting, or archery or jiu-jitsu. These are things that I personally do. A lot of my guests do. And so a lot of times the men who listen think, well, if I want to be a man because I respect what Ryan's doing or respect what Jocko or Pete Roberts is doing, then I have to do jiu-jitsu too. No, you don't. I think maybe there's some reasons you want to look into it, but if jiu-jitsu is not your thing, then it's fine. If shooting's not your thing, fine. If hunting's not your thing, fine. If you want to paint or learn how to cook or learn how to draw or skydive or go bungee jumping or hike the seven tallest peaks on each of the seven continents, and those are things that are stimulating to you, then do that. Let's not box ourselves into things that we think we quote unquote should be doing. And instead, let's find outlets that we enjoy doing, that bring purpose and fulfillment and satisfaction to our souls. That's what you need. If you're forcing yourself to do something you don't like to do, not only are you not dealing with your stress, you might actually be adding to it. And we're not trying to add stress, we're trying to alleviate the pressure and the stress of everyday life. So, needless to say, or so I thought, we should find things that are stimulating to us. Now, that might mean that we need to try 1,000 different things before we find something that sticks. And that's okay. Experiment, try new things. When people have opportunities for you to do something you've never done before, just say yes. Go try it. Go experiment with it. See how it works. See if it's something you enjoy. See if there's elements of it that you enjoy that you can bring into something else. But be okay with playing. That's really what it is. You're just playing with different ideas and different experiences and seeing what sticks the best. But it has to be stimulating to you mentally, emotionally, physically. It has to be stimulating. Number 2 is I believe that it should be physical in nature. Men are generally physical. We're active. We should be moving. We should be using our bodies. We should be exercising. We should be trying to be fit. And that's not to say that everything we do has to be revolved around lifting weights or training martial arts, but there should be a physical component to it. If it's just that you want to do graphic design, nothing against graphic design, but you got to find something else. Maybe it's photography. And in that photography, you're out, you're doing destination weddings and you're hiking around, or you're doing landscape photography and you're going on hikes and you're going to new places and you're exercising your body and you're getting out in fresh air. But make sure that what you have as an outlet is stimulating, but also make sure that it has some physical element to it. And the physicality of it is what's going to help you release that stress and that pressure and that chaos and that confusion and frustration of life needs to go somewhere, and it can go out of your muscles, out of your lungs, your blood's pumping, and it can go into that process, whatever that looks like. Number 3, it should be convenient. It should be relatively convenient. If it's not convenient, you won't do it. I'll give you an example. If I wanted to pick up surfing, that's probably not the greatest outlet for me now. Now, can I go surfing? Yes. Should I? Sure. But I don't live near the coast. It's not like I can drive, 10 minutes down the road and be at the beach and surf. I can't do that. It's not possible. Now I might be able to go to the lake and do, wakeboarding. Okay. That might make more sense. But again, that's seasonal. So as the winter approaches here in Maine, I'm not going to be able to do that anymore. You've got to make sure the thing's convenient. If it's jiu-jitsu and you have to drive 2 or 3 hours to get to a place to train, you're just not going to do it. But if it's 10 minutes down the road, you will. If it's working out and you have a gym at home, it's more convenient. You're more likely to do it. So make sure that the outlet you choose through your experimentation is something that's convenient for you to do, so you give yourself less opportunity to opt out. And even those things that we enjoy, a lot of the times we opt out of them because life, the kids' football game, and you're going on dates with your wife and you're doing all these other things. And so you opt out of the things that you enjoy doing because you have other things going on. So let's not create, as I think James Clear says in his book, Atomic Habits, friction on the habits that we want to implement in our lives, and make it streamlined, make it easier to do those things, not harder. And the last point here, guys, is that it needs to be challenging. It needs to be challenging. If you're already doing something, maybe you're a reader, maybe again, you're doing graphic design or you're doing photography, and it just comes easy for you. And it's just fun. And there's no real challenge. There's no mental struggle or toil with it. Sure, do it. But that's not the kind of outlet I'm talking about. I'm talking about something that pushes you outside of your comfort zone, that makes you uncomfortable, that forces you to train and prepare, that forces you to research and study, that gives you an opportunity to do something different that you haven't done before, an opportunity to do something that you're not good at, but you can get good at, that you can master over time. It's the challenge. and the focus. That's part of the reason I love jiu-jitsu so much is when I'm there, I'm fully present in jiu-jitsu. I'm not thinking, I'm not thinking about my wife. I'm not thinking about my children. I'm not thinking about the business. I'm not thinking about all the other things I need to do in life. I'm thinking exclusively about jujitsu. And that's a very, very powerful thing because I can focus only on that and not let all these other little distractions that aren't all bad. My relationships aren't bad. My business is not bad, but those are distractions for the time being. But because it's challenging and because there's some risk and some toughness involved, I have to focus fully and solely on that. Now, I told you guys this was going to be a short one. It is. I just want you to, as a challenge, to make a list of all the things you've ever wanted to do, all the activities you're currently involved with, all the activities people have asked you to do, and don't disqualify any of them. Just make a list on your phone, make a list on a notepad, and write down as many as you possibly can and start going through that list and seeing what you enjoy. If you go to a class of jiu-jitsu and you love it, go to another one. If you start taking on photography and you're hiking around and you really enjoy that, do another one. If you don't enjoy it, maybe do something else. But use that list as a benchmark for things that you can do. And then also, I would say, is that you should be journaling. So now you can look at what you did that day, and then you can write down the things that you enjoyed. Write down how you felt. Write down how it made you feel. Write down the challenges and the overcoming of obstacles that you did and what you felt about yourself when you did. Document and write these things down because that's going to help you narrow this list down to something that's really going to serve you well. Guys, you have to have an outlet. I've talked about this analogy before. My wife does some canning, and she puts it in a pressure cooker or a steamer, and that steamer builds up enough pressure where it actually seals the lid onto the glass jar. Well, it's got a little outlet valve, a little valve that lets off some of the steam. Not all of it, because it would be ineffective, but it's a valve that lets off some of the steam, because if that valve wasn't there, we would literally be creating a bomb in the kitchen. And that's what so many of us are, ticking time bombs, just waiting to go off, waiting to destroy, waiting to hurt, waiting to tear down relationships, waiting to yell at people that we care about, just waiting for destruction. Find the valve, find the outlet. Remember, it's got to be stimulating. It should be physical in nature. It has to be convenient so you can actually access it. And it has to be challenging. And I challenge you to go out and do that and see if you don't feel better. All right, guys, that's all I've got today. I'll be back next week. Remember, the Masculinity Manifesto is available. Amazon's the best place right now. And also check out our exclusive brotherhood, the Iron Council, because we're talking about these types of subjects and so much more. Check that out at orderofman.com/Iron Council. We'll be back next week. Until then, go out there, take action, and become the man you are meant to be.